Well, the global sports business is valued at about $500 billion US, and this is expected to accelerate to about $600 billion by the year 2030. And when you look at these industries, are growing at a rate of 6.5% annually. And it's a major socio-economic driver around the world, employing millions of people. And when you look at Kenya, it's a sports powerhouse in Africa, from football, athletics, hockey to tennis, and of course swimming. Kenya has won many accolades because of sports. And now there is a renewed focus on how to drive sports in Kenya for socio-economic development. And currently, the government is focusing on talent exploitation as well as capacity development, plus infrastructure expansion. Well, tonight we're in the business of discussing sports right here on Inside Government. And I guess who's joining us is the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Sports. This is Elijah Mwangi. We're going to have a conversation around what the government is doing to develop sports in this country. Thank you very much indeed, Bonapiers, for joining us tonight. From strategic management to the Ministry of Mining, now to the State Department for Sports, it has been a transition in the last 3 years or so. How are you finding your footing in the world of sports?
Thank you, Brian. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our viewers to these discussions on matters of sports. Good evening. Well, as you have said, Kenya is a powerhouse. It was demonstrated in the last 2 weeks when we sent our team to Japan, Tokyo, for the World Athletics Championships. As you are aware, Kenya emerged position number 2 in the whole world. That was immediately after USA. That demonstrates that yes, we are a powerhouse. So I appreciate and I really congratulate the team that went to represent us in Japan, and more so the Athletics Kenya, who organized and managed the team so that we won. We brought in 11 medals. We had 7 golds, courtesy of our great ladies and men, and of course 2 silvers and 2 bronze. So hongera kwa Kenya. Now, in the State Department for Sports, which is in the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, with our CS, Honorable Sari Mvuria, we are doing great. We have transited from where we were some years back to today. Our responsibility is to identify talent. We nurture those talents, we develop them. But when we are doing that, we are looking sports as a career. That's why we say talents or talanta hera. If you are to consider those sportsmen and women who are in majority of our sports disciplines, you'll identify that Kenya we have so many sportsmen and sportswomen. But as a government, what are we doing so that we can support them such that they can earn a living from the God-given talent? So we have a responsibility to nurture those talents, and that's what we have been doing. So when you find that we are doing infrastructure, when we are doing stadiums, when we are doing the sports academies, when you find that we are working on community grounds, we are just working to ensure that our talented athletes get an opportunity to get better and better. And even when we do the cash rewards, you may be aware, O'Brien, that the team that went to represent us in Tokyo, Japan, those gold winners, the gold medalists, we have already paid them their 3 million each for the gold that they brought, and of course for the silver medalist 2 million, and 1 million for bronze. So this goes on to what we did in August when we hosted a CHAN here in Kenya. You remember those footballers from Harambee Stars who represented us, courtesy of His Excellency the President, William Ruto. We handsomely rewarded them. So if you have a talent, we are there to support you so that you can earn career from it, you can earn living from it, even as we look at it as a recreation, as a health, things to make you fit, but you get paid for your talent.
And now that you're talking about remuneration of our athletes, and we have seen an example, being set during the just concluded CHAN, which was held here in East Africa. We saw the president rewarding Harambee Stars players. We also saw the athletes who triumphed in Tokyo, getting financial rewards. But the question that is now coming across is this going to be standardized across all disciplines, or is just concentrated around football and athletics?
Well, the rewards that we are doing is one of the many ways we appreciate our sportsmen and sportswomen. For instance, we have our sportsmen and sportswomen, those who are professionals. So regardless whether they are paid by the government or not, they are doing what they love best. We have quite a number of professionals playing in this country and outside this country, including those athletes who run for this country and outside this country. And the allowances that we pay for them, the allowance that we pay to our sportsmen and sportswomen is standardized. It is something that is a policy within the government.
How much did you give to the footballers per person?
Well, there are several ways we remunerate our athletes.
Yeah.
But for allowances, it is standardized. We have a policy for that. So any person who represents Kenya internationally, we consider them and we pay them equally. Doesn't matter the discipline that you are representing us on. It's not a must that you are in football. We have so many sports disciplines. In fact, over 140 that are registered with us. And when you are representing us, the president was very gracious, and he has directed that we review upward the daily allowances when we are representing us from 60, the one that we are paying athletes, to around 200 USD per day. And for
so from $60,
right,
that's about 7,000 Kenya shillings,
right,
to 200.
Absolutely.
That's about 25 or
26 there.
26 there.
Then for the technical bench, we have reviewed from $80 to 300. That is the directive of the president.
And when is this taking effect?
And that one does not matter. The discipline, the sports that you are representing us on. Of course, it is a process which we have embarked, because everything must be anchored in law, such that it is not a must that you will be paid by current peers because I know you, or you are coming from a certain known federation or a sports discipline. It's for everybody. Equally, the cash awards are for everybody. So depending with the kind of sports discipline you are representing us. For instance, those who will represent us in Olympics, it doesn't matter whether it is athletes or any other discipline. When you give us a gold as a country, the honor that you have bestowed to this great nation, we reward you the 3 million. So that is for everybody, including the winning bonuses. Of course, those athletes, when they represent outside there, they are paid. Now for Harambee Stars, whatever we paid for them is what had been agreed and what we pay. essentially. Now let me look at it in a different way, sports, because we are looking at sports for economic development individually as a nation. When we hosted CHAN, the caliber and the number of people that we attracted in this country, the economic benefit that was associated with this is enormous. For instance, we had to rehabilitate our stadiums, as we even constructed others.
That is Kasarani and Nyayo.
We had Kasarani and Nyayo. For it to be done, we had quite a number of jobs that were created, both within, through directly and indirectly. And equally, when we hosted now the actual games, we had quite a number of jobs that were created. And of course, there were other effects which comes up with it. And therefore, it is for us a strategy which we have adopted to host those international competitions locally for the benefit that it carries. May I consider some of the areas that we have worked on as we support our sportsmen and sportswomen. We have talked about the stadiums. I hope you are aware that we are working on one of the largest infrastructure stadium locally, that is the Talanta Sports City. Which
is at what rate of completion now?
Well, what they are doing at the moment, they are working on the roofing and the outside caliber, so that by December 31st, we are certain it shall be completed. Of course, we are around 60-65, but majority of the works that were meant to be done has been done. Now, the few works that is ongoing, we are certain it shall be done by that 1st of December. Then, we were also working on Kasarani Stadium. It has been done, but that was meant for CHAN. In as far as hosting AFCON is concerned, we know AFCON is bigger compared to CHAN. And therefore, we have plans which are already in place. We have a contractor who was working on it. Of course, he did what he was to do, but the contract is running. So we expect to rework on some of the specs within Kasarani, so that we can accommodate the requirements of AFCON.
Like what are you going to rework on? I know there were challenges with the entry point, the access to Kasarani Stadium, the road was clogged. What aspects of Kasarani are you going to improve on?
Well, there are quite a number, but if you were to consider the playing field, the grass that is currently planted there is not what is recommended for AFCON. AFCON mostly work on Bermuda. So we'll have to rework on the playing field so that we can get the right playing turf, which is acceptable by AFCON. Of course, there are quite a number another issues that we have identified, which we'll work on. There are quite a number. Then when you come to Nyayo, Nyayo we intend to have it with a canopy. And at the moment, you are aware that it's just open. So we are working to ensure that by the time we shall be hosting AFCON in 2027, it shall have been worked on the matters of canopy. Then we have the two playing fields, which we also did. That is the Ulinzi Sports Complex, which is also an S1. That one was meant for training, equally on Paris Circle in South Sea. But right now we are having a project in almost each and every county in this Kenya. There are those that are already ongoing. And we have quite a number that are on procurement stage. And of course, there are others that are on design stage. So essentially, within the next 2 years, we expect that each and every county will have a standard stadium. Very well.
Now that you've talked about, AFCON, I want us to spend a little bit of time there. We know Talanta Stadium is under construction. It's going to be one of the most modern stadiums in Africa. And the questions that are coming around is, and you have talked about the completion rate, you're talking about 65%. Help us understand, a stadium is not just a structure. you know, there are various amenities, you know, like roads, power, water, and all these. So help us understand, how will traffic be managed along Gong Road? And are we expecting to see the Gong Road being expanded from the junction all the way to Karen to accommodate the huge volume of people who will come over there? Also, Kasarani, we had a challenge with that. So you remember there was a time when, you know, the crowd breached the security barriers and entered the stadium. How are you going to reconfigure that? When you look at Nyayo Stadium, Aerodrome Road that connects to Mombasa Road is a small piece of road that requires to be expanded, and we know the traffic jam that is caused there when we are having major facilities. How are you going to expand the amenities?
Thank you. That's a great concern, which policy-wise we have already addressed. For Talanta Sports Complex, we have had quite an engagement with the mount stakeholders, which includes the roads, for the transport, the railways, the electricity people, quite a number of them, the water, the sewerage, and the likes. And what we are working on is a master plan. We are developing a master plan for Talanta Sports Complex, which even can connect with Bomas. We do have so many facilities and utilities that goes around with the stadium, as you put it, apart from just the stadium itself. And for information, we are working on the arteries within the Gong Road so that we can be able to connect well.
Are you expanding Gong Road?
Well, we are saying we are doing a master plan. Master plan involves expanding. There shall be some flyovers within it, overpass for it, for that matter. Yeah, even some overpass connecting Talanta Sports City to the Eastern Bypass. So it is a whole complex that is being worked on.
So you're talking about a master plan?
A master plan.
That will cover how many years?
Well, you know, the stadium will be there for as long as we are there. But now the master plan, there are those things that we'll be able to do today, short term. There are those for the medium term, and there are those for the long term. So you're having
short term, medium, and long term?
Absolutely. Because, for instance, by December, we shall be done with the stadium.
The stadium itself.
And of course, by 2027, we expect that we shall use it to host AFCON matches. So there are those things that we have done by December. For instance, connecting electricity. Those are things that we must do immediate. The connecting water, connecting sewer, but then we have the railway system that we need to connect within the systems there.
Is it going to be complete by December 2026?
December 1st, 2025 is the completion date for the stadium.
For the stadium.
But that does not mean there are other amenities that are needed for it. And that's why I'm saying, even after that first, we need other, like the railways. We shall be connecting railways to Talanta Sports Complex. We shall be constructing within the next 3 months. We may not have done it, but we have worked, we have resourced, we have cost. When put it.
By the time that Kenya is hosting the AFCON, give us an idea of how Kasarani, Nyayo Stadium, Talanta, Kipkeino, Bukungu, how will these stadiums plus the surrounding amenities look like?
Well, we may start with Talanta, because it is mostly the attraction for this matter. I have said by December this year, we will have had worked and completed the stadium.
The stadium structure itself.
Structure itself. But even we shall have also connected to the electricity and the water and the sewerage. But then AFCON shall be held in 2027, mostly around July, August. And from today, we have adequate time. And for us to implement on the utilities that are needed to evacuate in case we have sports happening in Talanta, bringing in people to Talanta, we have worked on a master plan. One of it is the railway. We are connecting Taranta to the railway system so that then those who want to use the railway, should be there to bring in people to evacuate them. Then we are working on the roads. We are expanding the roads network. It's not only at Gong Road, but we are also connecting it to the Eastern Bypass, and by extension to Bomas, because we know this stadium is not only used for games only. We have cultural events that we should be using it, entertainment, music, arts, and the likes. And then we have the conference that is being done at Bomas. So we need to connect the two. And of course, you appreciate that there is a forest there, which we must conserve as we do all this. So by 2027, everything that is needed for Taranta should have been done. Then come to Kasarani. Kasarani, we have said, of course, there's the road. The Thika Road is not an issue. Yeah. When we were hosting Chan, it wasn't an issue. Of course, for the purpose of planning and ensuring that there's a good flow of funds as they access Kasarani, there was some need to cross the roads, which was just part of planning as it had been agreed upon. But within Kasarani from Thika Road to Kasarani, it's quite a distance. What we shall be improving on is the perimeter wall, because some of our funds were able to go over it. And maybe there were some areas where we felt that we need to strengthen on its perimeter, or of course even the gates. But the work that need to be done for us to host games in Kasarani mostly is the playing field. That is where we have a gap, which we need to work. The others is just a matter of working to make it more modern.
Do you also plan
to
automate the payment, the point of payment?
Actually, that one is already done. If you are to go to either of the entry points within Kasarani, you'll find there is an automated entry point. If we were to use those tickets, you just need to have it coded. You just have it scanned at the entrance. Then you access. That one is the infrastructure is there. But it was
not used during the
It wasn't used because the kind of ticket that were done by CAF had not been customized to suit what we had done within our gates.
Tell us about Bukungu.
Bukungu is progressing on well. We have a contractor who is working on it. Initially, it was designed to be a 40,000 seater. But what the county had done was just barely very minimal. So we decided that we will work it on phases. The first phase, we are working for a 20,000 capacity, which is progressing on well. After we are done with that phase, then we may consider improving it to be 40,000 as it was initially designed.
Kipkeino?
Kipkeino is working on well, and we have a contractor today who
And it has been under construction for how many years now?
You see, for what had been done for Kipchoge, for those who may be aware, the work that had been done, some of the terraces had been done on normal ground. That is the normal surface. Some concrete work were done on it. And that one is not within the standards that CAF provides. And therefore, for us to host AFCON, it was necessary to make it a standard stadium. So it has not been under construction for long. In a way, it had been done in an orthodox way, I may use that word. So we are working, and we have already done that one. I know the contractor has done the concrete, the pillars. We are almost working on the terraces.
What
and
is
that
the
one shall be done.
rate?
Well, we are around 20 to 25% there.
20 to 25%.
All right.
When do you plan to get to 100%?
Well, we have a contract with the contractor, and the contract is for 24 months.
24 months.
So within 24 months, our expectation is that.
24 months from when?
From the time we gave the work, that was last year, September.
Last year, September.
Yeah, so we expect within 24 months.
So by September 2026.
August 2026 or thereabout.
Very well.
Equally, we have, let me tell Kenyans, we have so many stadiums that we are working on. If you go to Nandi, we have, again, another Kipchoge Keino Stadium, the former showground. We have already awarded that contract, and I believe the contractor has reported or is in the process of mobilizing to start, but we have already identified the given a contract. We are doing a 10,000 seater. If you go to Elgeyo Marakwet, Kamarin, the one
famous
known, famous Kamarin. The design that had been done initially, the structure that is there was challenged for integrity. It was determined that it may not suit future events, and therefore we have already awarded that contract. The contractor has been on site. I know for some few weeks he left site, but the equipment are still there. There were some things that we are sorting out, which we have sorted out. Essentially, those who know Kamarin, on the southern side, we have a slope, and there was a need for us to work it out so that it can be standard. Stadium like the others that we are working on, because we are working on a prototype. So we have solved that. Our engineers were there on Tuesday, together with the Kenya School of TVET engineers, public works, and they have agreed on how to reposition that stadium. If you check, you'll find that these columns have already been done, and some works on the terraces has already started. And we expect within 12 months it shall be done. This time round, there's no two ways about it.
The dream will become a reality.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Kirigiti Stadium.
If you go to Homa Bay, we have done what we need to do on Homa Bay. The stadium has been done. It was completed and used to host our Madaraka Day. If you go to Kakamega, we have talked about Bugungu. Bungoma, the roofing was done. Now we are almost 98-99%. All around Kitare, we are working on a stadium. If you go to Kisii, we are working on a stadium. Migori, we have done a stadium. Right now, we are around that 5% completion rate. Kapkatet, this one is in Kericho. The contractor is working on it. Then Kirigiti, there is no issue. What happened in Kirigiti, stadium had been done. When we took CAF officials there, they realized the playing field was in a way suppressed compared to the running track. That means a player, if you are to run over a ball, you'll find at least a platform on the running track. And therefore that one was dangerous for a player. So it was anonymously agreed with CAF that we need to rework on the playing field. And therefore we advised the contractor to look at it. He did what he was able to do, but by the time we were hosting Chan, it was not completed. And we have agreed with the contractor. He is handing over the site to us so that we can complete on that small section of planting the grass at the playing field. Otherwise, everything else, majority of the work has been done as it was designed. And then, of course, if you go to Muranga, we have already engaged a contractor. We are working on Mobi Stadium. We have had engagement with the stakeholders because we are looking for a small section from the school that is neighboring the stadium so that we can accommodate the acreage that is required for a stadium. We are putting 10,000 seat capacity stadium with a very well designed terraces, a very good playing field, running track, and of course shall have a canopy. Then we also be working in Maragua. There is the stadium that is called Kakoigo. The president, William Ruto, was very gracious, and we are working on designs. So
what about Mombasa? I remember the president talked about constructing a world-class facility in Mombasa. Do we have an idea where is it going to be constructed? When will the construction start? And when will be the completion date? Can you explain to us in 1 minute before we go for the break?
Absolutely. Anyway, we are working a stadium in each and every county. I may mention Nyeri, the people from Nyeri, they can tell you that the stadium that has been almost dormant for a while. That is Lorengo Stadium. The contractor is working. Already they have done a pavilion which can seat almost 2,000 people. It is progressing on well. Odaya Stadium is working almost everywhere. This Friday, we have a meeting with the governor of Mombasa so that we can decide and agree in principle where to put the stadium. Essentially, our wish would be that we put it on the current designed site for that particular one. I think I don't know whether it's called Tononoka or what.
Tononoka grounds.
The one that is mainly the one that was being put initially by the county government. So we shall be meeting with the county government, their technical team. Our technical team will be there also, so that we can agree. Out of that, we will decide now what needs to be done. Because, as you put it, His Excellency the President William Ruto has directed that we do a stadium in Mombasa. Not only Mombasa, even Kilifi. We have had a discussion with the county governor, and we have identified the space where the stadium shall be done. Equally in Voi, that is in Taita Taveta County. We have already engaged the county government, and we are certain that we shall put a stadium there.
Very good. I mean, if you're just joining us, we are talking to the sports or the State Department for Sports Principal Secretary. This is Elijah Mwangi. Our conversation tonight is around the development of sports facilities as well as exploitation of talent here in Kenya. We are taking a short break and we are coming back with more. You're watching Inside Government and we are live from Broadcasting House. Stay right here. Welcome back. You're watching Inside Government. We are live from Broadcasting House. Our guest tonight is the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Sports, Elijah Mwangi. Our conversation is around sports development here in Kenya. Before we went for the break, we spent so much time, talking about sports and football. I want us now to turn our focus now to other disciplines. Look, Kenya is an athletics powerhouse, but we only have 3 tracks. Okay, Kasarani, Nyayo, and now Ulinzi Sports Center. Tell us more about what the government is planning to do to expand tracks facility here in Kenya, with the mind, bearing in mind that Kenya is targeting to host the World Athletic Championships in 2029.
Well, thank you, Brian, again. The infrastructure that we are working on, we are working jointly with the federations, more so to ensure that we do them the best way. For a playing field, we are working closely with FKF so that the standard that we put in one can be replicated in all of them. So we are working on a prototype. All stadiums are the same. Specifically for 10,000 seater. All of them will look the same. Equally, we are also working very closely with the Athletics Kenya. Their technical officers have been involved to ensure that the running tracks that we put in our stadiums are a standard. They can be used to be gauged within any other event approved by the World Athletics. So all of them, the one that we are doing henceforth. So we shall not have issues that we just have one stadium like the way we are putting it, Kasarani. And by the way, we are working on the running track for Kasarani. Remember, we were to put up a new Tantan track. That one is on course. Equally for Nyayo, by the time we were hosting Chan, we had removed the old Tantan track. And already, if you visit Kasarani, you'll find the contractor has already worked.
The same for Nyayo.
That is for Nyayo. Equally, we were able to host Cape Kaino Classic at Ulinzi. That means the stadium for Ulinzi is good to host any form of athletics. And that one is being replicated across or our stadium. If you go to Nakuru, whereby we are still working with the governor Nakuru to ensure that Afraha Stadium Afraha Stadium is fit, and all of them, the few that we are working, we want to ensure that we have a standard running track. Equally, we are working on sports academies. Sports academies are just a training center for sportsmen and sportswomen as we nurture talents. Right now, we have 37 sports academies scattered across the country. In these sports academies, you expect a very standard football pitch, a standard one. You expect 8 lanes learning track. And I've said we are working with the technical officers from the relevant federations to ensure that they are standard.
Are we going to have any running tracks around Talanta?
Let me finish on the sports academy, and then I go back to Talanta. Of course, there isn't. For sports academy, we have the football pitch, which can also be used for hockey. It can be used for rugby, and maybe for cricket. We have 8-lane running track that are standard. We have a basketball pitch. We have volleyball pitch. We have handball pitch. And equally, we are sinking a borehole, a solar powered. We are doing some workshops and changing rooms, which will be used for training for our identified talent. The purpose of these sports academies, as I have said, is to nurture the identified talent. This year, the year 24-25 financial year, we identified over 4,064 talents. Mostly they are identified by our scouts, and that's where we are looking at the grassroots sports. If you are to look at the picture of our secondary schools and our primary schools, the games that are hosted by the Kenya Secondary Schools Sports Association, we are able to identify a multitude, a number of talents in all disciplines. Then through the Kenya Academy of Sports, we are able to bring them together. But now, through the sports academies that we are working on, we expect each and every constituency to have sports academies. We shall be bringing in these identified talents there. They shall be exposed, they shall be trained, and then they can compete within regionally so that we can be able to identify the best. And we have produced quite a number of professionals through this program, including Adeline Kibet, and majority of these players that were playing for Chan. Of course, majority of them also get an opportunity to get sponsorship from this program. Then, on the same context, there are the community grounds that we are working on. Apart from the 10,000 spacious stadium, if you go through Nairobi, for instance, if you go to Babadogo, there's a ground there. If you go to Makadara, you'll find a ground there. If you go to Tena, if you go to Bakasi, and the rights including part of Dagoretti, we're also working on them so that we can have adequate training and playing fields, which are standard. The question was, are they standard? Yes, they are, both for all the others. But for Talanta is purely designed to host, if it is football, there's no running track. And of course, it may be used for other activities. I've said we can have some cultural events there. We can have entertainments, music, but for athletics, it isn't. But outside Talanta, we have some other 2 fields that are, of course, available for playing football. We may consider to see whether, as we progress, whether they can have a learning track.
Very good. Look, you know, Kenya is not just about football and athletics. I mean, we have been a powerhouse in the past of cricket. And you remember very well that in 2003 we hosted a major tournament here, and Kenya went all the way to the semi-finals of the one-day international. Today, cricket, is in disarray. You look at hockey. The only hockey pitch that had a turf was the City Park Stadium. Now it has gone into disuse. What is the government doing to ensure that these facilities and the revival of cricket takes place in this country?
Well, you are right. We are not just Ministry of Sports just to take care of football or athletics. I indicated we have over 140 federations. It means, therefore, we have several disciplines that we also consider. But if you are to look at some of those sports, majority of them are played indoors. And of course, we have our gymnasia there at Kasarani and Nyayo. And others, for instance, boxing, the way it is designed, we used to have those halls. For instance, the Modhurwa Hall used to be very active in matters boxing, karate, and the likes. But they are under the management of the county government. Mm-hmm. And of course, it is them then that they are supposed to maintain. When we talk about all those other stadiums, majority of them are under the management of the county government. They are just coming on board to ensure that we have the right infrastructure. So what we are saying is that apart from those stadiums, we shall be relooking into infrastructure that the government can come in and invest in, because it's not practical for government to invest.
Are we planning to put up any hockey stadium in Kenya anytime soon?
Let me finish. It's not practical for government to invest in a private facility. Now we have an MOU engagement with quite a number of international sponsors. For instance, on matters basketball, we have an engagement with the NBA. They are doing for us 4 big courts for
indoor.
basketball. Indoor. For basketball. And equally, across the country, we have it here in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and most likely Eldoret. But
have you seen what they have done in Kigali, the Kigali Arena?
Absolutely.
Is it going to be something close to that?
That's what we are working on, those 4. But essentially, we are also working on an additional 100 across the country. So apart from those 4 arenas that we have identified, we are also working now the basketball court around 100 within the countries. You have talked about cricket. Well, you put it right that it used to be. Of course, even now it is. I've attended some of their games. Of course, they may not be having the same vigor that they had those years. But one of the challenges that we are experiencing is the management or the governance of these federations. Because where there are crises, where there are disputes, you do not expect progress. But we have a responsibility, and we have been reaching out to these federations. Right now, we have an issue which we are working on within cricket. And it has lobbed in. We have also invited the World Federation for Cricket to come and talk to them so that they can appreciate that it's not so much, but there's something that needs to be done within cricket. But even the others, the rugby, they're okay, golf, we don't have an issue. For instance, for golf,
it's because it's privately managed.
You do not expect the government to have those golf, but they are quite a number. There are some counties that are putting up.
Very good.
Those golf.
Let's also talk about something that you have touched quickly, because I can see time is almost up. I also want you to tell us, there was a time when the government talked about rehabilitating the East African rugby club that is on Gong Road to make it world class so that we can host big matches. I would want to hear whether there is any progress around that. Plus, we are talking about reviewing the Sports Act of 2013 as well as the sports policy. Federations have been having a challenge, updating their federations to the requirements of the Sports Act. How are you working with them to ensure that they live within the framework of the Sports Act?
Well, as you put it, our current Sports Act was developed a long time ago in the year 2016. Equally, we have a policy that was developed the year 2005. Of course, those are a long time, but we have engaged our stakeholders. Right now, we have a draft policy. We have a draft we may call a sports bill that we are prepared to take it to the cabinet for approval before we submit it to the National Assembly for deliberations. And you'll find several clauses that we have introduced so that we can manage well the sports in this country. For instance, we are introducing an appeal after the tribunal, because currently if you have an issue, governance issue, there will be canvassed within the federation itself. They may be taken to the sports tribunal, but of course also they have an opportunity for the same to be taken to the High Court. But for us, we have introduced an appeal. If you are not satisfied within the tribunal itself, the first instance you can appeal. Equally, we are looking at how the governance of our federations is. And the discussion we are having is, should it be time-bound? Should it be 4 years, renewable, 5 years, and the likes, which is a discussion because I've said it is a draft. And equally, we are also looking at how to manage the active sportsmen and women, and of course those who are retired. So we have very good proposals. On the same, we also want to open and make it more broader on sports, because we have so much benefits. Of course, coming from what we have learned in the recent hosting of international football competitions. You know, when you host and when you present athletes there, sportsmen and women, it is a national pride. And we are happy that Kenya get an opportunity to be exposed and to be known, of course, as a powerhouse, more so on athletics, and the economic benefits that comes again with it, sports tourism and the like. And maybe before I conclude, I know the Kenyans may be concerned, which is a good thing anyway for those who love football. Kenya is a signatory, and they are working with WADA on matters doping. Well, by the time we started the journey, Kenya had very few listed athletes. You may know that before we submit our athletes for competition, they are tested. Yep. Of course, there are those at the international level, those are attested by WADA. But gradually, here in Kenya, we have so many athletes. I think they are in millions. And we have a responsibility to ensure that we promote a clean sport. In the year, last year, in around April, May, WADA conducted an audit. They gave us their report around September last year. By then, they had identified 35 areas where they would, and they did suggest that we work to improve on their compliances. So far, we have worked on 30 issues that were raised, and we have engaged our technical people. They are working jointly with an expert, and we are asserting that we should have concluded those 5 issues come second. We are so much certain. 2nd of October.
2nd of October, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, because we have up to Friday to have done that. Very so good. Kenya, we know that we are compliant.
Very good. Okay. Bwana Piers, thank you very much indeed for joining us here. I mean, of course, we cannot exhaust everything here on this one show. We'll continue to engage with you as your ministry so that we can drive sports agenda forward. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Excellent.
Very good. We've been talking to the PS in charge of State Department for Sports, Elijah Mwangi. Our conversation is sports development here in Kenya. You have been watching Inside Government with me, O'Brien. We're coming to the end of this conversation. Remember, the Prime edition is coming up next with John Jacob Curia together with Doreen. From me and the rest of the production, have a good night. Bye for now.